Does being unemotional help you during a flow state experience, specifically in the context of basketball? Let's get it.
Yeah. I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumet Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Today we're answering a question from Aqua. Thank you, brother, for asking. This brother is 15 years old, and he's asking that he wants to get into the NBA. He's been watching lots of videos on flow state, and he wants to know why the last 3 days he's been practicing and he's not been tapping into his emotions, and it's been helping him. Is this a placebo or is this legit? What's going on? Okay, very good question, bro. So first of all, start to understand this concept of flow state being a little bit above neutrality. Okay, so the fact that you're not overly emotional, yes, it is actually helping you. If we understand this scientifically, man, we're thinking about emotions being signals. Isn't there a sports term like someone's a wide receiver? Anyway, there are these signals coming in. The issue being here is, are you going to let too many signals come in and distract you? Or are you going to be the one who generates the signal or interpret the signal as there to support you or help you? So it's how you respond to the emotions that's really the trick here. Save the emotions for before and after the court, where you actually integrate, where you're actually visualizing, right? Like before your game, you could be visualizing and really tapping into your emotions. But then you reach that Zen state, that monk state, where you're actually allowing yourself to have a soft focus. What do I mean by this? I'm sure you're aware of using all of the flow triggers and all this kind of stuff. If you're not, check out the flow triggers right here. Okay, make sure you're using these. Make sure you're using group flow triggers as well, because technically this is a group sport. Okay, this is not you by yourself, but you need the team. Because you need the team, you need to be aware of your teammates as you're playing. So you might be practicing by yourself right now, and it helps to cut off your emotions. The challenge happens when, let's say, you're dealing with a toxic teammate or a toxic opponent or somebody who's riling you up, right? So emotional regulation in general is very, very important for flow state calibration, okay? You want to know your opponent through pattern recognition. Notice the pattern in the way that they play, and you'll be able to create a map for them in your mind as you play. And that map can slightly distort as the game moves forward. The soft focus element is when you're focusing very heavily on something, you are also draining a lot of your energy. If you're taking a lot of your energy, you can't preserve it for the game. But when you have soft focus, it's like a soft gaze, so you're aware of everybody. It's like you're using your peripheral vision, you're using your wide angle perspective, right? You have this panoramic view of the game. Now what's happening is you have a soft focus. So not all of your energy is being drained, but it's being consciously split. So you have the soft focus as you're on the court, but as you get closer to the basket, you start getting more honed in. You start placing an importance on the target, having it clear in your mind that there's nothing else but that basket as you're taking a shot, right? There's no audience members, there's no other players, it's just you and that basket. And you will notice this when you really tap into flow, right? That it's just me and the basket. And there's no emotional connection with that basket because it's an inanimate object, correct? It's just you and a goal. Bring this autotelic energy. Play for the sake of playing. It's the fact that you're going to be a more successful athlete that you're doing this. Yeah, do it for the character upgrade. Do it for the avatar expansion pack, if you catch my drift, brother. If you want to play like Kuroko's basketball type of basketball, you want to understand that being emotional, or overly emotional, we could say, gets you to hone in. If you're in fight or flight, you're draining your energy. But you're not honed in too much, you're learning to embrace and enjoy the game. That's a big element of it too. Now, enjoyment is an emotion, right? Enjoying the game, playing, is emotional, but it's very slightly emotional. This is why I'm saying a little bit above neutrality. Okay? You're not like celebrating, like, you're spending 15 minutes celebrating, and you're not underwhelming yourself either. You're not like, it was whatever, you know? I get that all the time. No, you're giving yourself that much, but you're not staying stagnant there. You're not staying with the lesson, you're not staying with the win. You are fluid. You are the court. You are the audience members watching. You are the ball. You are the other teammates. When you can orchestrate your mind like this, you can allow yourself to play more. It becomes like jazz, right? An improvised jam session. You know when you play with your friends and you have that ease and quality, but then in the big game, the pressure is on? You want to have that same quality of when you're playing with your friends. And it's just like, you practicing, playing around with your friends, and bring that to the NBA court. And keep practicing, brother, Repetitions are going to hardwire it more and more and more and more and more. And I'm sure you know some of this information, but trust me when I say this, man. Like, a lot of athletes that I train, they do get overwhelmed. There's family issues, there's relationship issues, there's issues surrounding the coach, there's issues surrounding the teammates. Many different areas of our lives, right? We have issues. I'll give you a quick technique that you can use to distance yourself or to be less emotional when you're dealing with different issues. Let's say that a big issue happened right before a game, right? A big adversity happens. How do you deal with that? When somebody's telling you their adversity, well, what we do as human beings is we become empathetic. We take on their storyline. We imagine it's happening to us, and that is mirror neurons. It's a natural occurrence, right? However, if you can listen to this other person telling you, oh, this bad thing has happened, bro, this thing is happening to me, and I crashed my car, and this thing happened, and, I got into an argument with my friend, whatever they're saying, right? You're listening to them as if they're reading from a storybook. You're not attaching to the storyline. You're just going, and whoa, man, and then what happened, right? You're engaged. And this is what you want to be. You want to be engaged in the game. When you start adding a lot of personal elements to the game, like, oh, how much this means to the coach, right? Or, oh, I hope my girlfriend sees me perform well today. You're adding more pressure. And tension is the enemy of the artist. The less tension that you can have, again, anxiety is emotional, right? So think of it like this. You obviously don't want to be devoid of emotion, and that's not really possible unless you have like one of these disorders or whatever, right? Or you can't really access emotion, or if it feels like you're faking your emotions or whatever, right? I'm sure that's not the case. So you're putting your focus on dribbling. If you focus on the audience members instead of dribbling, you're probably going to fumble, fall over, right? get distracted. If you're just focusing on dribbling, guess what? You're gaining that momentum. You're creating that pocket. You're creating that space-time dilation where you're being absorbed into the present moment, right? You're just dribbling. Dribbling and moving. Dribbling and moving. What about defending? Depends on what role you take on the court as well. Your role inspires the movements, inspires the action steps. Okay? Sometimes there is a high risk, high reward. Do you think some of these great basketball players would be able to take all these long shots if they were hyper emotional? I don't think so, man. I don't think so. I think that automatic gesture of zero consciousness is that neutrality that allows these incredible shots to happen. So I think you're onto something, man. I think that there is this ability, obviously in basketball, right? They talk to you about like killer instinct and all this other stuff. Watch my other video on killer instinct, by the way. You can't be completely blocked off from your emotions either, man, right? So you've got to, when the emotions come, you can't let it drown you. You've got to let it flow. That's it. Emotions, energy, and motion, right? So technically you are emotion embodied as you're playing. But it's using your emotional regulation that's going to stabilize you during the game and not make you burn out or exhaust yourself too quickly or get too upset over a loss. That example where you celebrate and you take it way too far, right? Like that example in Coach Carter. You want to make quick, logical decisions on the court, but you also want to use your creativity. So there's this hemisphere synchronization happening. So right before the game, you're in a yin-yang state. As you're playing, you can be in a yin-yang state, but you want to go more yang, a little bit more yang, right? Like 60-40, let's say. You're going more masculine. You're going more competitive. You're starting to engage, but also you're not completely stagnant with the ball. You're swift. You've got timing, you got pacing. After the game, you're purely yin, you're resting. And then you regain the yang back. And you come back to a baseline. So that's kind of what I would say, man. It's like, yes, I wouldn't say it's no emotions. There's some emotions involved, but you know which ones help you. Anger can be used as a motivation, as an emotion, but only momentarily. If you stay in that anger, it's going to cloud your judgment, cloud your decision making on the court. If you describe an emotional player on the court, would you respect that player? Like, this is your duty. You're there to show up. You're not there to be overly emotional. You're there to perform. Yes, emotions can definitely help a performance, but for basketball, it's a different story, right? Like, for instance, an artist can get very emotional. That's a part of his artwork, right? But you're an athlete, man, so you're going to have that physical risk. You might risk injury. So don't just ignore the emotions off the court, is what I'm saying. On the court, you can get into that baseline. Get into that 0-point pocket. But when you think of a really emotional player, right, on the court, you're thinking like, what a bitch, man. Why is he crying? Like, why is he going foul like every 5 seconds, right? Why is he like faking an injury? That's the kind of context that we give ourselves when we think of an emotional person, right? Someone who's causing temper tantrums, someone who's not getting along with others. When you can be level-headed, when you can look at the sport of basketball like yoga. It's a union of a team coming together. All minds connected. All hearts and souls connected. In this court. The extension of your expression giving this ball power, as it's taking on the energy of the whole team as they touch it. This is why your teammates have got to be clean. Sometimes the game isn't your fault that you lost. So this is what I mean, man. You got to play harmoniously. And I'm sure you do. You're only 15, man. You got some time to put in. You got this, man. I believe in you. And years from now, you look back on this channel and you'll be like, that guy was right. Hopefully. Hopefully. Don't lose your creativity. Don't lose your edge. Keep refining your skill set. And just know that everything serves a beautiful game being played. It's all a part of it. The drama, the audience members cheering, the little stumbles. It's all a part of it, man. So learn to embrace and appreciate all of that. That's the emotion. Appreciation. Let's get it. Upward Spiral gang. May we never be the same again. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope this was helpful, brother. Share this video with your friends or family who need it. Some ball players. Let's get it today. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Oh.